Think with the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Way rock the baby to sleep.
Until morning. Ewing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he's going to try to get one more shot off the last one. The ball's there.
How about that?
Rivers steps over Toronto. He thought about three. He'll put up that three.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Boom Broadcasting presents 3 from Deep. I'm your host, Jason Colenso. Welcome to the show, everybody. Yes, this is going to be even a tougher show today on Wednesday. New York Knicks. We'll talk about that here in a second. But first things first, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am Jason Colenso, your host. This is 3 from Deep. We are on the Boom Broadcasting Network. If you've never been here before, thank you very much for showing up. You guys got to check out everything that Boom Broadcasting has to offer. Please like and subscribe. Jump on here. Check us out. We have lots of great content providers, man. And you will not be sorry for everything that we have here on this channel. We talk about all kinds of sports. We talk about wrestling. We talk about TV shows. We cover the gambit. So please jump on, like and subscribe. We appreciate all the love and support. I appreciate all the love and support that you guys have out there for me. And I thank you very much. This is becoming a difficult playoff season as a New York Knicks fan. And of course, we'll talk about last night's game because it stings. It really does sting. And I'm doing my best to make this a PG show because the New York Italian in me wants to totally flip out. But I'm going to keep my cool because that's what I do. No, I'm probably going to flip out here in a little bit, so just bear with me here. But Knicks, yes, losing a pivotal game last night, 130-121. Trying to run the Indianapolis 500. You can't do that against that Indianapolis team, guys. The speed of the game, you needed to slow it down. The New York Knicks did not do that. They literally gave that game to the Indiana Pacers. 17 turnovers, and they were bad turnovers. 17 turnovers. Pacers only had 11. Key moments. We had some spurts. Looked like we were going to start coming back, started chipping away. Got down to about 6 points there in the fourth quarter. But bad turnovers, bad shot selection. The chucking it up from three, the fadeaway as you're falling to the side three. I don't get it. I don't understand. Look, OG had a good game, 22 points. Karl Anthony Towns getting his knee banged in there to the end of the game, but had 24 and 12. Brunson, 31, so Captain Clutch, but just could not come up clutch on this one. Hart, 12 and 11. Great on the boards, but the turnovers, man. 5 turnovers from Hart. Fouled out, so bad fouls. Again, guys, we talked about fouls. Fouls are just a lack of focus playing defense, and there was no defense. Indiana got their shots. Indiana got to the front of the rim. Indiana got rebounds. They got second chance points. They were running up and down the court. The New York Knicks were trying to run with them. They shouldn't have done that. It was a really bad game and a bad game plan. And I'll talk about that here in a second. But Tyrese Halliburton, the playoff game of his career, triple-double, 32, 12, and 12, no turnovers. Showing up and showing out, one-upping Jalen Brunson as far as being the superstar of the game. Again, Pascal Siakam, another 30-point game. You guys let him go off and make clutch shots. Neesmith, 16 points. Mathurin, 20 points. Mathurin having the best game of this series. You guys let him in this. So yes. New York Knicks, just an overall terrible game. A bad game plan. You let that crowd get into it and get hype. Now you're down 3-1 going back home. Thursday night's game, 8:00. I'm not, I don't know, man. I have some faith that we can win this game in New York, but the way the Knicks have been playing, the game plan at which they've been playing with has scratched my head with some of the moves Tom Thibodeau has done. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. The Knicks lose this series. Tom Thibodeau needs to be fired as the New York Knicks head coach. This series has glaringly showed the shortcomings that the New York Knicks have being coached. Bad game plan. They were not ready and have not been ready for Indiana. They've played Indiana. They've watched them. These guys watch the tape, and yet you're continually trying to run with them instead of slowing the game down, taking high percentage shots, get down low and one, score points while the clock is stopped. You did nothing of the sort. There was no full court pressure. You're down in the fourth quarter. You're down 10, 7 points. It kept fluctuating back and forth between that. Got up to about 13, 14 points. There was no full court press. There was no attempt to slow Indiana down and meet them before they could just get the ball right over midcourt. You let them get set. You let their offense set. No sense of urgency. There was a couple of plays that I think they should have tried to review. I don't know. I do not like the way that game last night unfolded. And to me, it was a glaring representation of just poor coaching. That team was not ready. That team was ill-prepared. They had a terrible game plan. You cannot try to score 130 to 150 points with the Indiana Pacers. There's not a lot of teams out there that score that, and that's not the New York Knicks game. The last game they won, it was barely over 100 points. It was 106. I can't remember the last score. I'm so kind of frustrated. But you got to hover that game around 100 points. They broke 100 at the end of the third quarter and still had a full quarter to go. That's not the New York Knicks game. Terrible play calling. Terrible sense of urgency. They essentially gave up in that game. And as a New York Knicks fan, that is very, very frustrating. As a basketball fan, man, Indiana, they have speed. They got guys that can score. They got guys that can rebound. Timely shots. McConnell off the bench. Again, you got the little engine that could, the spark plug off the bench. Siakam showing that he is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. He is up there. Scores when he wants to. He is an professional basketball player, and it shows. And you can see, what he did in Toronto is now translating over to Indiana, the way that team is running. And Thibodeau was just outcoached. That Indiana Pacers team was prepared and capitalized on the New York Knicks mistakes. You cannot win when you have 17 turnovers. You cannot win when you're in a shootout with the Indiana Pacers. So, very disappointing loss. What's going to happen in Game 5? Again, back home in New York. I think the Garden's going to be excited, but to me, this is a slippery slope. This is where Indiana smells blood in the water. Look, they just took care of the Bucks. They took care of a 60-plus win team in the Cavaliers. They're not afraid. They have won in the Garden already. They know if they can get up by 10 double digits, 10-plus points, that Garden goes silent. If the Garden goes silent on Thursday night, this series is a wrap. The gentleman's sweep. And that is very disappointing. This New York Knicks team is more talented than that. And they should be playing a lot better basketball right now, and they aren't. This is not the team that played Detroit physical. This is not the team that played Boston physical. This is a team that's getting ran over by a better squad. And right now, the Indianapolis 500, which is the Pacers, is taking care of the Knicks. So, again, Game 5, Thursday night in the Garden, 8 p.m. It's going to be rocking. Knicks cannot play from behind. To even think about stretching this series out, they need to be up. They cannot go down, and they cannot let the Pacers come back and even make this a close game. Because if they can, some reason, pull it together, if Karl Anthony Towns and the knee, hopefully it's not bruised too bad because he was limping out there those final seconds. So the Knicks have a shot. I don't know. I'm just disappointed in the way that they've played that series. But we'll find out Thursday night. So, again, guys, I appreciate you because part of me wants to just scream really, really loud into this microphone right now. It's like I stayed up late to watch this game, and it just got more and more frustrating as it went. All right, I'm going to stop. All right, let's jump into... All right, let's jump into the T-Wolves and Oklahoma City Thunder. Another kind of lopsided series right now. Oklahoma City, 128, Timberwolves, 126. It was a close game. That game Monday night, it was a close game, but Oklahoma City now takes the 3-1 lead. Jalen Williams, 34 points, showing up. When he shows up, he's one of those unsung heroes on this team. I think it's hard when you have SGA, when you have the league MVP. But Jalen Williams, man, he's a heck of a player, dude. When he's on, he is on. But SGA, just MVP performance, 40 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, almost a triple-double, 40-point triple-double. That's what a superstar does. That's a superstar stat line. Chet, 21 points, 7 rebounds, making some noise in the middle. Get that boy a cheeseburger, man, because he is a talented player. He's got great footwork, man, but, man, he's, like, super, super skinny. It drives me crazy. He's like Ichabod Crane out there dunking the basketball. But this was a close game. Shooting percentages were close. OKC shot 50.5% from the field, 43.2% from three. Timberwolves 51.2% from the field, 43.9% from three. So this is a super close game, and the score echoes that. McDaniels 22 points. DiVincenzo. Man, we miss you in New York with your 3-point shot. When you're on, you're on. 21 points, 5 for 8 from three. Nickeil Alexander Walker, 23 points. So the role players for the Timberwolves showed up and showed out. But Julius Randle, the New York Knicks, Julius Randle showed back up, 5 points. And Anthony Edwards, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. That is not a superstar stat line. Guys, we need to take Anthony Edwards down a couple of pegs. He's falling out, I'd say, the top 10 players in the NBA right now. That was a horrific performance. Your team is, again, on the cusp. You're trying to send this series to 2-2 instead of 3-1. The game is right there, and that's the performance you have. A lot of other guys in your team are showing up. Anthony Edwards, you needed an SGA stat line. You needed to be over 30 points. You should have been the superstar that we know you can be and that you want to be, but you were not. You have been lackluster in these playoffs. Calling you out, man, and calling it like it is. The series is 3-1 because of you. And that's what happens when you have a superstar player that everybody in the NBA, the ESPN, NBA, everybody wants to put this guy, and they've been trying to build the pedestal before he gets anything. They tried to build it last year. It didn't work. They tried to build it again. They keep getting the pedestal ready. But Edwards shrinking, can't get up onto the pedestal. Terrible performance. He is not ready for prime time. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, superstar. One of the best players in the league. I'd say put him in the top 5. I still have Joker number 1, but then you can kind of start mixing, mingling. You got SGA right there. You got Luka right there. You got Giannis Antetokounmpo right there. Anthony Edwards is way down the line right now after his performance in this series. Terrible. So tonight in Oklahoma City, and that's what makes this even worse. It's 3-1 going to Oklahoma City, and that building is going to be the Thunderdome. SGA is going to be Mad Max. He's going to go bananas. And I think this series is a wrap. I do not see Anthony Edwards showing up. I do not see Julius Randle being able to overcome SGA. And that team smells blood. They know they got bounced last year early. And they survived against the Nuggets. They are trying to get through this series. They do not want to stretch this out. If they can end it now, they can rest to the finals. This is going to help them immensely. This series is over. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the best player left in these playoffs, and the presumptive and the current MVP of the league is going to finish Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Tonight, it's over. They may keep it close. Anthony Edwards has to drop 50. He needs a 50-point game because in that building, if Oklahoma City gets a lead, the Thunder Sticks are going to be out. The Thunderdome is going to be rocking. They're going to smell blood. It's over. I think Oklahoma City seals their ticket to the NBA Finals tonight. Anthony Edwards can go home and think about next year and figure out a way how to get back onto that pedestal that everybody keeps building for him. Crazy. Guys, woo! Playoffs, they're getting hot. There's a lot of pressure. And right now we're seeing some teams handling the pressure, and we're seeing some teams not handling the pressure. Unfortunately, my New York Knicks are not handling the pressure. The Minnesota Timberwolves not handling the pressure. Anthony Edwards not handling the pressure. Guys, let me know what you think. Do you have a squad? Do you have a horse left in this race? Do you think anybody can beat the Oklahoma City Thunder right now? I want to hear what you have to say. Let me know what you got. Let me know what you're thinking. Drop me a comment. Drop me a question. Let's see what you got. We're going to jump in, dude. Guys, I haven't done the layup line in a while. I kind of been off my game a little bit here. I've been really, really hyper-focused on the playoffs. We're going to do some different things on the show once we get into the finals because, of course, we'll be down to the last two. So we'll do some other things to fill in the content, to have some fun with it. We'll do a couple of different things. Again, I'm still talking about the upcoming draft too, so we're going to focus a lot on that. And the off season, a lot of things going on. But let's jump in the layup line here. You got Russell Westbrook, just had surgery on his right hand, had some ligament tears. They expect him to make a full recovery. The 36-year-old had a decent year with the Nuggets, averaged 13.3 points a game, 6.1 assists, 4.9 rebounds. He's got a player option that he needs to pick up by June 29th. I don't know if he stays in Denver. He should. I know he didn't have the playoff performance that he wanted to, but that's kind of been Russell's MO. So if he was smart, I would stay in Denver, play with Nikola Jokic, see who they can bring in to build around Nikola Jokic and ride the wave, man, because, going to another team and just jumping to another squad, I don't think that's going to help you. I think, if anything, that's going to hurt you. You were received well in Denver, but I really think that Russell Westbrook should stay in Mile High. And we'll see what happens by June 29th. And the other thing I want to talk about here in the layup line is the Caitlin Clark effect. My man, Podcast Smitty, talked about this in the Quick Hits, threw out a nice reel. So if you guys haven't checked out Quick Hits with my man, Podcast Smitty, please do so on the Boom Broadcasting Network. He covers the WNBA, fantastic for Boom Broadcasting. I know I touched a little bit on here on Three from Deep. I try to stick to the NBA, but there's certain things that just cross over, and the WNBA, we did a special show not that long ago before the season starts with my man, Podcast Smitty, so I appreciate when he did that, because right now the ladies' game is growing exponentially, and a lot of it is due to Caitlin Clark. And unfortunately, she's going to miss some basketball games for the first time in basically her career in a long time, since I think the beginning of her college career. But she's going to be missing 2 weeks with a strained quad. and this is huge. The WNBA and the needle moves when Caitlin Clark is on the floor. You talk about eyeballs on television. You talk about ticket sales and people showing up, especially the away games. I think the Fever will still draw people in for their home games. They got a pretty nice fan base there, especially with the way the Pacers are playing. So basketball in Indiana right now is on fire. But it's those away games when you have Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever come to your town, you see, standing room only ticket sales. She moves the needle. I know there's been a lot of drama. I know that the narrative between her and Reese is reaching some places I don't think it needs to go. I'm hearing a lot of the racial black and white thing. I'm hearing a lot of hate and a lot of unnecessary things going on that are being drummed up from the two. Look, there is a rivalry there. Is it what a lot of people are making it to be? I don't think so. I think there's a lot of things going on that are being compounded and added to this rivalry. But Caitlin Clark, ever since she has come into the WNBA, ever since her college career and what she did in Iowa and how it's now translating the eyeballs she put on television sets and the fans she put in the stands and the love and everything else and her iconic her aura right now has vaulted the WNBA, which is phenomenal because those ladies don't get enough credit. They work extremely hard at their craft and have been for 20 plus years, and that they do not get enough credit. And it's nice to see them finally getting the credit. And I don't want to say it's because of Caitlin Clark, but that has a lot to do with it. I think a lot of eyeballs on the TV and in the stands are finally seeing how great basketball players there are out there with Asia Wilson and Sabrina Ionescu for my Liberty, and the list goes on. So I mean, you can talk about all these great players in the WNBA right now, but it is insane that for the next 2 weeks, the Indiana Fever will not have Caitlin Clark. So I'm curious to see how this is going to affect the coverage and the media coverage. How this is going to affect, again, ticket sales. This is going to affect eyeballs on the television. The Caitlin Clark effect is real, guys. And I'm not saying we need to use that as an excuse, but you need to recognize it and go, okay, she does move the needle a lot. How can we build off of that? Not just use her because of it, but how can we utilize the new eyeballs and the new revenue streams? How can we take that and put that into our game and create a better product? So I'm hoping the WNBA can do some smart things, and we'll see what happens. But again, that's a huge hit for the Fever as a team that wants to make the playoffs and make some noise in the playoffs. But to lose Caitlin Clark, that's huge. So I also want to jump in here real quick, guys. Again, I said we're going to talk. I've been doing kind of my top 30 players that we've been talking about here as we get closer to the NBA draft. I've been spotlighting at least 5 guys the last couple of shows here, so we're going to spotlight 5 more. We're going to talk about 14 through, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 14 through 10. We'll talk about that, and then we'll get into the top 10 the next show. But let's talk about, like number 13, because I did 14 in the last one. So let's talk about 13 through 9. We'll go ahead and do that. So I'm getting just Still frustrated about the Knicks, so I'm confusing myself here. So number 13, we're going to talk about Colin Murray Boyles, power forward out of South Carolina. 6'7", big kid, 239. Man, these are some big guys. 6'7", 239. That's huge, huge. So Colin Murray out of South Carolina. Then the 12th ranked was Noah Assange. I know I'm saying that wrong, but power forward from France. Again, the game is international, guys. The game is international. So Noah Assange from France. And then you got Derek Queen, power forward from Maryland, which I want to say Dairy Queen so bad. It's so hard. I know I love me some Dairy Queen, but Derek Queen, power forward from Maryland. You're number 11. You're number 10, Carter Bryant, small forward from Arizona. He's got some good defense, man. Kids coming out of Arizona right now are on fire. So Carter Bryant is cracking the top 10. So we'll get 9. We'll talk about 9 through number 1, and we all know who number 1 is going to be. But we'll talk about 9 through number 1 in the next show on Saturday. So again, you got number 13, Colin Murray Boyles out of South Carolina. Number 12, Noah Assange. No, I'm saying that wrong. Essengue. I got to work on my French. But from Ulm, France. Derek Queen from Maryland. And Carter Bryant from Arizona. So we'll start getting into our top 10. And again, guys, I'm just kind of throwing names out there real quick. We'll talk about this more, and we'll deep dive more as we get through the NBA playoffs and as we get closer to the NBA draft, because everybody knows Cooper Flagg. I want you guys to be well informed on who else is out there. So I appreciate you guys joining me today. This has been really rough because, again, as a New York Knicks fan, I am inside. I look like the Tasmanian devil when he's doing the whole tornado thing right now. And I want to kind of just let it loose right now. But I am not going to have a meltdown. I promise you. I may have one if they lose and get the gentleman's sweep. And so I may have a little mini meltdown on Saturday. We'll see how that goes, but I'm hoping not. I still got some faith. So we'll see how my New York Knicks do. But guys, I thank you so much for joining me again. If you have any comments, questions, drop me a line. Let me know what you're thinking, what you'd like to see, what you'd like me to talk about. What am I missing? What haven't I talked about in the NBA? So, don't be afraid to let me know, man. Let me know what you got. Let me know what you're thinking. So thank you guys very much. I am Jason Colenso. This is 3 from Deep. You will see me again on Saturday at 12. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll check you later. Peace.